Greetings and welcome to Chant a Day. We are here today on a Saturday. Come over here. Hi, greetings and welcome to Chant a Day. Happy Saturday, everyone. Kadamit. As we look at the Psalm today, I wanted to start off with the verse because we talked about this in our Psalm yesterday about boasting, right? Well, the verse today tells us about boasting in righteousness. So Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 17 to 18. Let the one who boasts in righteousness. For righteousness is not the one that condemns oneself, righteousness self that is approved, but the one whom righteousness commends. So Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 17 to 18. Let the one boast in righteousness. So everyone should boast about goodness and righteousness and mercy and love. That's what we boast about. We talk about that. We boast in that, of that, for that, about that. And that is what we boast in. So when we look at this verse today, and this verse is coming directly from Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 17 to 18. And I'll read it as it is in the new IV, the NIV version. Let the one who boasts in the Lord. For it is not the one who commends himself who is approved. So, in other words, it's not you that commend yourself. You're not approved by your own approval, in other words. Only the one whom the Lord commends. So it's only the one who righteousness commends. So when we talk about commending, we're looking at official. It's official. So righteousness, in other words, has the official final word. Okay, righteousness has the official final word. So that's what the verse is about in Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 17. I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of what is right, what is kind, what is good, what is love, what is compassion, grace, and mercy, all of that. And it starts off in Second Corinthians with let there be light. Let there be let the one that boasts in righteousness, about goodness, about love. Let that one talk about that. Okay. Don't talk about other people slandering, etc., etc. Let's talk about righteousness. Let's boast about that. Okay. Greetings, DK. We are chanting the psalm today, and we are starting with the verse, Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 17 to 18. This is a channel where we translate the psalm using liberated words. So we use up high energy words that are liberating, that are on a high energy. So for those of you who are not coming on with high energy words, you need to probably create your own channel with your own words. So greetings from, someone said hello. I don't know who that is. That is in a different language. Greetings. In the chant of psalm, we don't use the word hello because hell is low and we don't want to go. We don't want a hellish life. We don't want a life of hell. We want a life that is of tranquility, calmness, love, kindness, and humility. So that's what we do in this channel, is translate the psalm to liberate the reader, liberate the listener, and liberate ourselves from the oppression. As we celebrate Marcus Garvey's birthday today, Marcus Garvey, amazing liberator, one of the liberators of the Black experience. If you know about Marcus Garvey, today is Marcus Garvey's birthday. It's celebrated all over the world. And 1887 in St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica, Marcus Garvey was birthed. And his parents, Sarah Jane Richards and Marcus Messiah Garvey Sr. So Sarah was his mom, and he, is very famous. So as we chant a psalm, we're thinking of Marcus Garvey today and what he stood for. So let's look at Psalm 70 today. Psalm 70. So take out your little scriptures. It's only 5 verses, really quick. Psalm 70. And Psalm 70 is titled, "Oh, righteousness, do not delay." We want righteousness, goodness, mercy, love to come right away. We don't want any delays in the goodness of the Lord, as ones speak about. So let's look at verse 1. Verse 1 really kicks off. I mean, it's out the gate. It's like, look, make haste, O righteousness, to deliver I and I. O righteousness, make haste to deliver I and I. So we look at God, Lord, Jesus, Jehovah, Selassie the First, Rastafari, Mohammed, Allah, Buddha, all of these names that people have grown up calling. Behind it is righteousness. It's love, it's kindness, it's humility, it's integrity, it's honesty, it's compassion, it's mercy. People go to church and ask for mercy, but then when they leave, they don't show anybody any mercy. So, we have to look at that seriously here. So when we look at the first verse of Psalm 70, it's out the gate. Make haste, O righteousness, to deliver I and I. Why is that the case? Something wrong is happening, and it's like you need this righteousness quick, because you're going to go off in a wrong way. It's not going to be good when the righteous put their hand to wrongness. What happened with the foundation? It's this, So we got to stay in that good place. All righteousness, make haste to strengthen I and I. And strengthen, we look at the word help. I look at the word as strengthen, because help is close to hell. And I don't want that confusion or that deviation or that misrepresentation of the word. So I go straight to what the word is. Strengthen. Give me strength. I need, strength to do good, to do the right thing, to be held accountable, to be able to speak that I was wrong about something. So give me that strength. Verse 2 now, let ones be put to shame and confusion who seek I and I life. So there's going to be ones that are going to be jealous and envious. And Minister Farrakhan talked about that in a speech I just listened to yesterday. And he talked about envious people who want to take your place, who, are envious because they can't be who you are. So they want to take you out. If they can't be that, they don't want you existing. So in this psalm, it's about, Psalm 70 verse 2, let these ones be put to shame and confusion who seek your life, who seek to destroy you, who seek to take you out of the picture, because they're going to be put to shame and confusion. They're going to be turned away and brought to dishonor. Those who have a delighting in hurting I and I. Seriously. Who's happy in seeing me hurt, or another person hurt. You know, when somebody hurts you, you leave them in righteousness. Just leave them there in righteousness. Okay? Because you don't want to delight in their hurting to stop your hurting. It's not going to stop your hurting when you hurt someone else. Hurt people hurt people. And the solution to that is righteousness. Stay in the righteous place. Okay? And uplift a person. All right? Somebody hurt you, send them flowers. Somebody hurt you, call them on the phone. And, ask them how they are doing. So, in verse 2, we see this shame and confusion turning back, bringing to dishonor, and all this is going to happen to ones that are happy seeing I and I hurt. Verse 3 now, these ones are going to be turned back. Again, it's talking about that in verse 3. Verse 2 talks about that. Let them be turned back. Verse 3, let them turn back because of their shame, who say, aha, aha. When something happens to someone, instead of lifting them up, they say, aha, aha. See? So I don't want to be in that part of that story of confusion and shame and dishonor, and that we want to be part of the story of deliverance, of salvation, of reverence to righteousness. That's a shirt right there. Reverence to righteousness. So when we look at excuse me, when we look now at verse 4, may all who seek righteousness, if you're seeking goodness, you love to see people, liberated, and chains are broken. You like to see that. I like to see that. I like to see when people pay off their car. I like to see when people, don't have to struggle with bills. I like to see that. That is joyful for me. Especially those that I love, even though they may have hurt me or whatever, I still want to see good in their lives. So may all who seek righteousness rejoice and be glad in righteousness. So be glad in that. Be glad in the goodness of the Lord, as people speak about. That is what that is. That's righteousness, goodness, mercy, love, kindness, compassion. Okay? And that goes far, beginning, of ancient times, in ancient places. And that's what I am going to explore, these ancient places and spaces in Ethiopia. And that is a place where my explorations are going to take me. And I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of what is right, kind, loving, and generous. And I give thanks for all of that. So when we look at verse 4, it keeps on with, may those that love salvation. And what is that? That is a future, a happy future with good outcomes. Those who love that speak all the time, righteousness is great, or they speak, God is good. All the time, God is good. Jehovah Jireh is great. Jah, Rastafari. They adulate the one that is called righteousness. They give reverence to that and respect. Okay? So we look at that word, those words that are spoken by those who love salvation, that those who love righteousness and want a righteous outcome, right? Remember, you are going to reap what you sow. When you sow in good soil, meaning righteousness, actions of good, you're going to reap those to you. So in verse 4, it's this full chunk of, those in the story who are seeking for righteousness going to receive that. But those who are trying to hurt folks, trying to, bring hurt to them, are going to be turned away and brought to dishonor, that want to see people hurt. So in verse 5, as we end, because I said it's 5 verses, verse 5 speaks of, I am poor and needy. Okay, poor meaning not poor without monetary things or financial or material things, but poor in the sense of, I need strength, I need deliverance from the wrongness that's around, or that is probably in me, that I need to get rid of. And that wrongness is echoed in how people treat people. Okay, how people are jealous and envious and have these animosities towards people and want to be happy when they are hurt. And oh, guess what? See what they get. So we should not seek after that, because the verse today talks about boasting in righteousness, talking about that, not about somebody falling down and hurting themselves and, oh yeah, that's what they get. No, it's about looking at the righteousness, goodness, mercy, love, and kindness, and rejoicing and being happy and glad in that. And those that are happy in that and that love that, they love the future outcome of that. That is goodness, because goodness is great. Righteousness is great. Love is great. Mercy is great. Compassion is great. All of these attributes. Grace is great. These are t-shirts right there. Somebody's going to go steal that. Grace is great. So verse 5 now is speaking of that deliverer, that who that is that deliverer. That righteousness is that deliverer, and that's going to hasten to deliver. Okay, because righteousness is that strength and deliverer, as mentioned in verse 1. This is Psalm 70. As mentioned in verse 1, as the psalm began, it spoke about that deliverer, deliverance, deliver I. And that's how it's ending. That righteousness is I and I strength, and I and I deliverer. O righteousness, do not delay. And what it is basically, righteousness is not going to delay. Because righteousness, I mentioned in previous Psalms, chant the Psalms a day, righteousness is omnipresent. It's around you, okay? It's above you. It's surrounding you. As the waters cover the sea, so will righteousness be. So there's no delay. There is no delay in righteousness. Righteousness is on time, every time, all the way. So in the 19 minutes we've been here, that is the Psalm, 5 verses, Psalm 70, beautiful Psalm. And it's about not, righteousness is not going to delay. It's not. It's going to be there. It's on time, every time. So let's look at what our word. Yesterday our word was faith. What is it today? Our word today is forgive. Forgive. And that's where healing comes. Healing, you've probably been looking at my henna. This is part of healing. I lost some things, but I gained more than I lost. because through forgiveness, we have healing. We have gained something powerful. And even though people may pass away, relationships may end, people may break up, there may be divorces, there may be separations, estrangements. Forgiveness heals. It heals, and it gives you an advocate that you're not alone in the hurt, in the pain, and in the sorrow. You're not alone. So let's look at the word forgive. I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of what is right, what is kind, what is good, what is forgiveness. I heal through forgiveness. Forgiveness may feel uncomfortable, especially when forgiveness prompts I to revisit hurtful words or actions. Understanding how forgiveness leads to healing strengthens I willingness, right? Because forgiveness leads to healing, so you're more willing to forgive, because it's like, look, I got to heal here. I'm going to forgive you. I forgive you. And it's strengthening you to heal. Remember the psalm I just read about giving you strength. And this is what forgiveness does. It gives you that strength. Forgiveness is really a superpower, such as kindness. Forgiveness is a superpower, and it's got to be real. It can't be fake forgiveness. It's got to be real. So I am patient with I self when the process feels slow. In words, in fellowship, in communication with righteousness, I begin to release the anger and resentment that tighten my heart and weigh heavy on I mind. I release the tension I may be carrying to feel lighter and freer in I mind and physical being. I also heal iritically. What does iritically mean? It means spiritually. What does spiritually means? It means righteously. Especially when I grudges, you may have grudges against folks, resentments, lead to a feeling of estrangement from righteousness. You feel estranged from righteousness and you want to go on the attack. You want to put people up on the firing squad. You want to go for blood. The blood's been shed, y'all. It's already been shed. You're not here to fight against flesh and blood. You're here to fight against the powers and principalities of this world that are wrong. And you're fighting it with your right, with your righteousness. Okay? And that's why we're equal rights stand in, rights, equal rights and justice. So forgiveness strengthens, it gives you strength to regain a sense of righteous communication, righteous bonding, to bond with goodness, bond with righteousness, bond with kindness, bond with mercy, bond with compassion, bond with grace, bond with these attributes that will give you the healing of that superpower of forgiveness. Because forgiveness is a superpower. When you can forgive, you're able to forego the physical cortisol that's running through, that is a stress hormone that's killing your organs, that's actually destroying your inside of your body, because you are not being forgiving. You're holding on. It's weighing heavy on your intellect, and it's weighing heavy on your physical being. In the word today, it talks about constricting my heart. I don't use the word con or dis. Those prefixes I don't use. So instead of constricting my heart, it's hurting your heart. It's when something is constricting, it's stopping you from breathing. You feel that your heart, right? So that anger and that resentment, that's what it can do to your heart. So you release that, release the anger, release the resentment, and all of that. You let that go. Release the tension that you are carrying so you can feel lighter and freer in your intellect and in your physical being. Forgiveness gives strength, right? It gives strength. It's a superpower that gives you strength to regain a sense of righteous bonding. You bond with righteousness. I told the henna lady first night that I complete I. You complete you. Don't feel you need another person to complete you. Yes, we have a mate out here. You have a person. But that person shouldn't be the piece to your completion. You know, that person should sprinkle their happiness and share their happiness that they already have. You shouldn't be responsible for their happiness, and they shouldn't be responsible for yours. That's where the confusion comes in. You should already be complete and happy. And that person, what they add to it is their own completion and their own happiness. But when they're depending on you to make them happy, and someday you may not, because you're working on yourself or whatever, you get into an argument. So in order to avoid that, you have to be complete yourself. Don't think another person has to complete you. So when you're away from that person, you're still complete. You're not alone. You're not alone because you're happy without that person physically there or with them physically there. When they're physically there, you're even more happy because you can see them and it's, wow, oh my gosh, you just added to my happiness. Your presence just added to my happiness. But when you're not there, you're still happy because I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about the next time I get to see you and the next time I get to hold you and be with you and hang out and do things. So that keeps you happy knowing that you have that. So always remember that your happiness does not depend on someone else. You cannot hold that person accountable for your own happiness. So forgiveness frees and heals. In the past, I may have thought forgiving was for the benefit of others. Now I am standing in righteousness, knowing that forgiveness is for I. It's not for the other person. Okay? When you forgive someone for something that they did to hurt you, you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. It's your healing. So they might not accept the apology. They may say, well, you know what? You forgive me, but I don't, they might not want to accept anything. So this is what you do. In the word today, forgive, Luke chapter 6, verse 37, do not judge. So you just offer your forgiveness. You don't judge anyone. Do not judge, and you will not be judged. Do not condemn, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Okay? Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Luke chapter 6, verse 37. The gospel of our Lord. Oh my gosh, of our righteousness. I'm going to go deep. This is the word of our righteousness. You don't judge folks, because when you judge, you're putting yourself in that judgment. You better be able to stand in that. Do not condemn folks. Like I just mentioned, you're not going to put folks up on the firing squad and want to go hurt folks. You're going to forgive. Okay? And you will be forgiven. Okay? People who come at me, in certain ways, I forgive them. I forgive them. I'm not going to call their names, but I forgive you. Full-heartedly forgive. Because sometimes people are young and they're dumb and they come at you in certain ways that are young and dumb. And you have to forgive them, for they don't know who they are. They don't know that they were made for goodness. They were made for righteousness and mercy and love. That's what they were created for. So when they come at you in the opposite way, they may have forgotten who they are. So you have to remind them. Don't chastise them. Don't put them down. Just be about righteousness. Be about forgiveness and show them what that looks like. I'm going to forgive you. I'm going to send you this beautiful plan to tell you, I'm sorry. And, I wish you the best. And that is true forgiveness, when you can do that to a person that has hurt you. So Luke is on the case, and Luke chapter 6 verse 37 wraps it up into a beautiful package for today's Chant a Psalm a day. Psalm 70, righteousness is not going to delay. The word today, forgiveness, that's not going to be delayed. And the gospel today, Luke chapter 6 verse 37. And then we have the verse today coming from 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 17 to 18. Boast in righteousness. Let everybody boast about that, talk about that, be about that, live about that. For righteousness is not the one that condemns, but the one whom righteousness commends. Okay? And we see condemn in the gospel. That's the opposite, condemn. Okay? And commend. So con is that prefix I don't use. But commend, C-O-M, one who commends oneself to righteousness. I'm going to keep that, commends. So, Selah and Selah again. Hey, stop all that noise. So we will wrap it up with the psalm. Give thanks for this day as we outro with our psalm. My barking dog back here barks at everything. Okay? Everything. I never had a dog like, I've had lots of dogs, but never a dog that barks for every single thing. These are West Highland Terriers. I don't advise you to get one. Don't get one. They're barkers. They got skin issues. They got more issues than non-issues. So that's the story about this one here. Have a blessed day, everyone. We're going to bless that the hungry be fed, the naked clothed, the sick nourished, the elders protected, the infants are cared for, and the animals are loved. We gotta love our animals. Blessed day, everyone. Respect. What is Alice barking about? You see mommy? Mommy out there?